Spotify could want greater control over Meghan's podcast after having fingers burned. Spotify could seek greater editorial control over Meghan Markle's podcast to ensure it does not cause chaos. After the streaming giant has had its fingers burned by backlash to recent content. Meghan signed a deal with Spotify in December 2020 and has since announced a new podcast series called Archetypes. But speaking to Express.co.uk about the deal, media lawyer Ian Penman claimed that Spotify may have included contingent provisions, which would allow him to terminate the contract if anything goes wrong. He said that the streaming giant had its fingers burnt by the controversy surrounding podcast host Joe Rogan, who faced criticism for giving a platform to anti-vax views. This, Mr. Penman said, will mean Spotify may want more editorial control over Meghan's podcast, and would not want her to say anything that could cause chaos and offend the platform's users and clients. He also claimed that the platform is likely to have retained the ability to pull out of the deal if it does not bring in enough listeners. The media lawyer, who specializes in music streaming contracts, told Express, "It becomes interesting because there may be contingent provisions which allow Spotify to pull out of the deal under certain circumstances, so she may put something in the podcast. For example, who has editorial control? Does she just say what she wants? Does she say what she wants and then they edit it themselves and decide whether they're happy?" Don't forget, Spotify have had massive problems with Joe Rogan's podcast, where he had people interviewed that made comments about the effectiveness of vaccines. So they might have had their fingers a bit burnt by that, which I suspect they have. So they'll probably want a bit more editorial control over these podcasts to make sure nothing goes out which offends their database, let alone their user base.